Hello and welcome to another edition of the Syndicated Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor, and today we're continuing down our road of covering all of Power Rangers with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1, Episode 17, Green with Evil, Part 1. It's our first multi-parter, and it's arguably one of the best multi-parters in the history of Power Rangers. With Green with Evil, Part 1 out of control. This is the introduction of the Green Ranger and Tommy Oliver into Power Rangers. And after Green with Evil is over, Power Rangers is arguably never the same. And without this, I don't think the show would be remembered as highly regarded as it was. So we start out. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this. There's so much we're going to be talking about. There's a martial arts expo, and it's Jason versus the new kid in town, Tommy Oliver, who's already wearing green. Keep that in mind, that he's already wearing green. Tommy is a fucking spin kick machine. The guy is nuts with these spin kicks. Like, I kind of understand that's probably one of the reasons why they cast him in the role, is because he was at the time, I'm not entirely sure what he was, but nowadays, like, he knows, like, a few different forms of martial arts, and he's actually, like, had a few MMA fights and stuff like that. Like, the guy's a machine, all right? But spin kicking machine. And Kim's got her eyes on said spin kicking machine. And then we find out Rita has a green power coin that can morph someone into the Green Ranger. Why has this never come up? You'd think that she would have done this already and not spent the past however long, the past 16 episodes sending out random monsters. Like, why wouldn't you just do this whole Green Ranger thing? And so we cut back to the Tommy and Jason fight, and it's fairly even. It actually ends up in a draw. So we establish early on that on his own, Tommy is an excellent fighter, because Jason is kind of considered the strongest Power Ranger at this point. And if you can go toe-to-toe with Jason, you're pretty powerful. Bulk and Skull come to flirt with Kim and are kind of like being a little threatening about it, and Tommy arrives, and he does like 7 spin kicks. And like, he also does some arm stuff, like he does some kata stances, but like, it's just funny when he's like, "Oh yeah, you want to fight? Hey yeah, spin kick. Hey yeah, spin kick. Hey yeah, spin kick." It's like in Mortal Kombat when you just keep button mashing, or like, just holding down like X, so you're just like, ha, 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 ha. Like, that's kind of what it looks like when he's just spin kicking away. Rita sends in the putties, and Tommy quote unquote trashes them because he's in an alleyway, and he uses like a trash can lid and some dumpsters and things, and he's beating them up because Rita needs to test if this kid's ready for her Green Ranger powers. So Rita kidnaps him and Frankensteins him. Like, she wraps him up in stuff, and there's lightning, and it really does look like a scene out of Frankenstein. And clearly, in the scene where he quote unquote is transformed into the Green Ranger, the outline figure is clearly not Jason David Frank. It is actually the actor who plays Barai, the Green Ranger equivalent in Super Sentai Zyuranger. And it's very evident. Like, it's very noticeable that it's not Tommy. But nevertheless, Tommy and Barai both become the Green Ranger. And this time, Rita learned from her mistakes with Madame Woe. She shows Tommy who the Power Rangers are. So there's no mistaken identity. He knows who is who. I thought that was brilliant because remember a couple podcasts ago I complained about that. And look, we fucking fixed that problem. Zordon and Alpha, the worst timing in the world, decide that Alpha's going to shut down for maintenance and Zordon's going to basically floating head equivalent of taking a nap. And when this happens, Tommy is able to enter the command center because he does have a power coin. Why Rita has a power coin and why it corresponds with the other power coins doesn't really make a lot of sense and hasn't really been explained. I kind of like the movie Power Lightning Bolt Rangers. Their explanation of like Rita was the Green Ranger and she split from Zordon's team, but I don't think that is the what happens here because clearly, I don't really know what the story is exactly. We don't really get that. But she has that power coin, and it does allow the Green Ranger to enter the command center, which he does. He puts a CD into Alpha's back, which causes him to glitch out, and then sends Zordon, tries to send him away, and ends up kind of sticking him in between dimensions and kind of just makes him all glitchy and hard to find. And before he sends Zordon away, Zordon's like, oh no, Rita's evil Power Ranger coin. And I'm like, why have you not told the other Rangers that Rita has a power coin? Why did that not come up in conversation? Again, Zordon is an asshole because he's always withholding information from these kids. So he tries to barter with Tommy, doesn't work, and he's disconnected. And he also trashes the command center, so it would be a lot harder to fix. Because he's evil. Rito grows Goldar, sends him to Angel Grove. And the Rangers, who are just kind of washing the rad bug, having a nice time. And Kim's like, man, I'm really missing Tommy. Like, they're like really wanting you to know, like, Kim is into Tommy. Like, big time into Tommy. So the Rangers notice shit went really wrong really fast. And they go to the rad bug to go to the command center. And when they get there, Billy pulls the CD out of Alpha. And they find he's all glitchy and he has a lot of work to be done. And there's no Zordon. And so for the first time, they've got to go into a fight not having Zordon to exposition what they're supposed to do. So they morph, go to Goldar, which Goldar sends down putties. They quickly beat up the putties. Call in the Dinosaurs, get the Megazord. And Goldar actually does land some decent hits on the Megazord. Because, after the first episode, when he's the first, villain they defeat, he kind of just, he'll come and fight for a little bit and leave. He hasn't, really fought the Megazord in a minute. But by him landing a decent amount of blows and not, getting beat up, we're really, building up Goldar as a legitimate threat. And that's something that goes away later on. But for the time being, he's very threatening still. You should... And the voice, by the way, is pretty much where it will be the rest of the series. So we finally get our classic Goldar voice, which also made me very happy. It took about 16 episodes, but we finally got it right. So during the fight, Tommy enters the Megazord and just tosses the Rangers out of it, beats them up and tosses them out of the Megazord. And then he jumps out of the Megazord, fights the Rangers, and does he shoots green lightning, but it just looks like the Hadouken. A little splicey splice if someone could do that out there and make that a clip for me, where it's just when he shoots the green lightning and he goes Hadouken, because that's what I fucking thought when I saw it. So back at the command center, they don't have exposition machine, and for the first time in 17 episodes, the Rangers lost. They did not win. This is not a happy time. They have a problem that they do not know how to solve. And this Green Ranger is going to take more than just getting the Megazord and working as a team to beat. And that brings us into Green with Evil Part 2, Jason's Battle. So we start off with Billy trying to fix Alpha's glitches, and he does do that. So we have Alpha back, and Alpha is now furiously trying to locate what dimension Zordon is stuck in so that they can get him back to this one, which he is also stuck in. So it's like we got to get him back to where he was comfortably stuck, not where he's now uncomfortably stuck. It's kind of a weird thought, right? Like, if you could get him back to this dimension, can you get him unstuck from the time loop and he can be normal Zordon and not just floating head Zordon? I literally just thought of that now, and I was like, that would make sense, right? Or am I just overthinking it? I know I'm overthinking a children's show, but I mean, in the context of would that work, am I overthinking it? So, Evil Tommy is in an alleyway, and he decides to scare Bulk and Skull with his green lightning eyes. And Bulk and Skull like, he should have his eyes checked. That was a good line. That was a good fucking line. So Jason is frustrated beyond belief because he's never lost. He's lost sleep over this. Like, why are we being beaten? How is there a Green Power Ranger? Who is he? Things like that. And Billy is tasked with fixing the command center while Jason is worried about how to beat this mysterious Green Ranger. And Tommy, when we see him next, he's also, not only is he wearing a green tank top like he was in the fights, but he's wearing a green mesh shirt over the green tank top and a green pair of jeans. So just in case you didn't know what color he is, he's really going to double down on it. And Kim comes up and tries to kind of talk to him and kind of flirt with him a little bit, and he's like, why don't you stop worrying so much, Kimberly? Not everything's about you. And it's like, oh, damn. Not only is he evil in the context of wanting to destroy the Power Rangers, but he's just straight up a dick. And he also goes and whoops more putties because Rita wants to test him and see if he's worth the Sword of Destiny, or of Darkness. I don't know why I said Destiny. The Sword of Darkness, because it's got to be evil. It's got to sound evil. Which she had won from Zordon's people. Again, there's a lot of backstory for Rita and Zordon that we don't get elaborated on. We just get like shreds of it here and there. And when they give Tommy the Sword of Darkness, Babu has this really stupid line. He goes, "Welcome to the club, bucko." Like, what club? Like the Evil Henchman Club? Is that a club? Do you get membership cards? Yeah, it's just off because Goldar's like, yes. He's like, yes, you have the power, Green Ranger. Everyone's like, and Squad's like, woo, he's so strong. And then Babu, welcome to the club, bucko. It's fucking funny to hear. I don't know. I had to write that down when I heard that. So Jason asks Tommy, because Jason doesn't know Tommy's a bad guy. And he's like, hey, man, I know we're supposed to work out together, but I got shit to take care of. Tommy's like, no problem. And sucks him into his power coin, which is a thing we can do. And it's this green prison that Goldar is in. And Goldar is holding Jason's morpher. So now, Jason has to fight Goldar in his human form. And that's not a good odds. He's never fought Goldar outside of his Ranger suit. Meanwhile, Kim is very bummed that Tommy shrugged her off, and Zach's like, we got other problems right now than worrying about Tommy. Which is true. A lot of shit going down right now, Kimberly. Can't be thinking about, you can't be horny right now, right? Jason is fighting Goldar alone. Not doing a good job. Goldar's toying with him, which is not great. And meanwhile, Zach, Billy, Trini, Kim, they morph in action, even though they don't know where Jason is. They're a little bummed about that. But Tommy has the Sword of Destiny, so he I said Destiny again. The Sword of Darkness. And he fucks them up. All the Rangers. He whoops ass. This sword is sending sparks left and right? So they call the Dinosaurs and the Megazord, which starts to fend off evil Tommy. And then Rita tells Goldar to finish Jason. So he pulls out his sword. So the Rangers are desperate for Jason and Zordon. They don't have a lot of backup here. And Zordon tries to communicate, but it's like too fuzzy. And then Goldar's like, why don't you come and take her morpher from me, Red Ranger? And Jason's cornered, and things look bad, and the episode ends there. And if you're watching this, as a kid when this is airing, if you're watching this, day to day, and, you come home from school, and you see all this shit go down with the Rangers, and then that's where it ends, you're like, what the fuck? They really, this was a whole week of your time. This is a 5-part episode, so, these kids had to wait, Monday till Friday to get closure on this arc, which I think is badass. Because I think they aired it every day, or every Monday through Friday, right? I mean, there's 64 episodes in the first season, so I mean, that's a lot. You can't air that once a week. So that brings us to Green with Evil Part 3, The Rescue. So Jason's hiding in the fog of the room because, of course, if it's an evil lair, it's got to have fog, right? And instead of, shuffling his feet around or, trying to see through the fog, Goldar is just, stabbing the ground with his sword, which is the worst way, because if Jason can look up and see you and sees a sword coming down, he can move. Sloppy way to do it. And Rita calls, not only does Rita have a Green Ranger and Goldar, but she calls upon Scorpina, who has been also in a rock for 1,000 years or whatever. It wasn't really clear on why she was in a rock, but she was in a rock. Basically, she's a female human version of Goldar. She has all the gold armor and the weapons, and her and Goldar I think her and Goldar fucked, because they have lovers' quarrels a lot. So her and Goldar are a thing. So Goldar's right next to Jason, but Jason hops up, starts to try to throw down, tries to fight him, and he's like, no human has ever defeated me. Yeah, that hurts the throat. Jason's like, well, today's your unlucky day, Goldar. He has a weird way of saying things. And so, they fight, but, Jason's still outgunned. Bulk and Skull, they kind of have a little moment with Kimberly where she's bummed about Tommy and she's bummed about Jason, and they're like, we'll find Jason for some kisses, and then they get Skull to accidentally kiss Bulk on the cheek when his eyes are closed. So, there's a quick comedic relief, but we got to move forward with the story. Tommy shows up, Kim tries to talk to him again, and she's like, I'm just worried about Jason. He's like, well, you seem to be worried about everybody, Kimberly, even though no one's worried about you. It's like, Jesus fuck, Tommy. I know you're under mind control, but damn. So Zach and Kim follow Tommy, and the putties arrive and do not fight him, but they do fight Zach and Kim, and they have some nice, because they're on, picnic tables, Kim has some nice, gymnastics style kata, But there's this footage where Zach's like doing spins into kicks and stuff. He doesn't do spin kicks, but he does like a little turnaround and then kicks and stuff. And they clearly sped up the footage to make it look like he's doing it much faster than he is. And it just when you have sped up or slowed down footage with normal footage, it's very glaringly obvious. So it's a little distracting. So Evil Tommy is then sent to fight Jason. Jason is like, why don't you give up and just join Zordon? Zordon's the right guy. And he's like, no, Rita's my empress. So then they fight, martial arts style, and they're pretty even though Tommy is morphed and should be more powerful. Him and Jason are still fairly even. So Jason's like, well, I know one thing about the Green Ranger. He's strong. So Jason gets his morpher, but doesn't get to morph. And then Babu and Squat basically take some time to talk about how scary Scorpina is. And Goldar kind of is like, oh, I love Scorpina. So Tommy's about to kill Jason with the Sword of Darkness. And Billy finishes fixing the communicator and teleports Jason back. And Goldar just shit talks Tommy like, you let him go, Green Ranger. Because of you, this operation is in jeopardy. Things like that, you know. Even though, like, you couldn't stab him when he was literally on your damn foot. So, no way you're shit talking the Green Ranger. And everybody's like, you know, Tommy seems a little fishy. You know, like, the putties didn't attack him, and he's been off lately. But they can't worry about that, because the viewing globe shows them Scorpina, and Alpha's like, hey, look out for her tail. If you get stung with her tail, it's a very... I don't know why I went Italian with that. It's a very bad if you get stung with her tail. He's like, hey, look out for Scorpina's tail. And, yeah, apparently she has, like, a stinger, like a scorpion, that if she stings you, it's very bad. For a bad, okay? Don't get stung by Scorpina, okay? And Scorpina goes and fights the Rangers with some putties. And when the Rangers morph into action, they, like, dive into the camera, and it's like, were they skydiving in? Like, what was that? So they beat up the putties, and they're actually... Scorpina's doing okay, but Goldar's like, there's too many of them. We gotta call Scorpina back. And then she gets back. She's like, I want to go fight. And he's like, I am the strongest. You must send me to fight. And then we get a flashback. They're like, she's like, well, Tommy did good against the Rangers, and shows the last episode's footage. I'm like, why are we using stock footage from something that literally happened in the last episode? Like, it was dumb when we used footage from the first episode in episode 12. This is, like, literally episode 19. Very, very odd choice. So Goldar's jealous of the Green Ranger because he's supposed to be Rita's right-hand man. So he goes to fight. And Rita's plan is she's going to eclipse the sun so that the Megazord's solar power decreases and they're able to beat the Megazord. It has never been mentioned that the Megazord runs on solar power. However, the Rangers are such good people and such conservationists. It wouldn't be far-fetched that their Megazord is solar powered. So the Green Ranger is just in a room, and they're like, you need to practice in case you get sent out. And he's just spin kicking. Like, he's in the room just, hiya, spin kick, hiya, spin kick, hiya, spin kick, hiya, spin kick. And I'm like, we get it. You can spin kick, Tommy. You can also do a lot of other shit. Let's try to do more of that. Goldar is also, he grows and starts wrecking Angel Grove, and that's where that episode ends. So another down note, yet again building up how big of trouble they're in right now. And that brings us to episode 20, part 4 of the 5-part series, and the final episode we'll be talking about in today's podcast installment. Green with the Evil, part 4, Eclipsing Megazord. So they try to morph, and it just so happens that some shit went wrong, and a beam hit the morphing grid, and the morphing grid's all fucked up right now, and they can't morph. So Goldar is destroying the city, and they can't, become Power Rangers. And the Green Ranger is preparing for battle now, doing normal. Like, he has the Sword of Darkness, and he's not just spin kicking anymore. And then Billy finally fixes the control panel because he's been working overtime fixing all this shit. And now it's morphin' time. As they go into action, there's more putties, and then Scorpina shows up. And she does a lot of damage to the Rangers. Lots of sparks, Scorpina fucks people up. And then Giant Goldar arrives, so then they have another problem. Meanwhile, Ernie's evacuating the juice bar, the youth center, and Bulk's Skull's like, we gotta go. Bulk's like, I'm not done with my ice cream. And then a giant, board falls into sailing, and he's like, oh, they haven't finished with my ice cream. And they run out, and Skull's like, we gotta go this way. And Bulk's like, no, let's just get on this bus. Buses are faster. So they get on a bus and are now driving it around Angel Grove during all this. The Green Ranger then enters the control tower, shuts off Alpha, and tries to send Zordon back into this dimensional gap as Alpha was just about to get Zordon back from whatever dimension he was stuck in. So Goldar then picks up the bus with Bulk and Skull. So they're in actual real danger of death. And then there's this whole good versus evil speech where Zordon's like, Tommy, there's good in you. You must join our side. And Tommy's like, I'll never join you. I'm with Empress Rita. Which is weird to hear Tommy say when you know about his future. So the putties are attacking the bus that Bulk and Skull are in. And Babu and Squat are trying to use logs to launch it off a cliff. And Bulk looks out and sees this and goes, I want my mommy. And Skull goes, I also want your mommy. And it's like, whoa, Skull. Where'd those emotions come from? Alpha then wakes up and traps Tommy in a force field. Because they have force field traps in the command center. Remember the power punks? So they call the Megazord together, save the bus. So Bulk and Skull they celebrate not being dead, but the eclipse starts to drain the Megazord. Then Goldar and Scorpina grow. Scorpina, apparently, when she grows, it's like Zarbon when he transforms into his second form in Dragon Ball Z in the Namek Saga. Like, Zarbon's, semi-attractive, and then he transforms, and he's this ugly monster. So when Scorpina transforms, she transforms from very attractive Asian lady to scorpion monster with tentacle hair. Vast difference, right? So they're both teaming up on the Megazord that's draining power like a phone using, 17 apps. So Jason's like, we gotta call upon the Power Sword. That's the only way it'll pump enough juice to keep us going. And I'm like, wait, the Power Sword gives the whole Megazord enough power? Is that, we're learning a lot of the mechanics of the Megazord from these episodes. So he calls upon the Power Sword, and that evens the odds. He starts whooping both Goldar and Scorpina with the Power Sword, just enough to keep them going. So Rita calls Tommy and grows the Green Ranger, which is so weird to see a gigantic Green Ranger, or any Ranger, just in the large form. So it's like Megazord looking eye to eye with the Green Ranger. It's very strange. Especially when we find out later that the Green Ranger has a Zord of his own. So why wouldn't he just call the Dragon Zord? Very strange. Scorpina stings the Megazord. And then Tommy and Goldar put their swords together and shoot a giant Hadouken. And the Megazord starts blowing up. It's beat. The Rangers are ejected out of it and demorph. And the Megazord falls into the ground. And the Rangers are fucked. They're unmorphed. Their Megazord's gone. All their side Zords are gone. They got Scorpina, Goldar, and Tommy to deal with. And so they get sent back to the command center, and Jason's like, we got to do this. We got to find a way to beat him. And Billy's like, hey, I found out who the Green Ranger was. And then we finally get the reveal, to them anyway, that Tommy is the Green Ranger that's been causing them all this trouble. And Kim, of course, is very, very sad about it, as she was kind of planning on dating this guy. And that puts an end to today's podcast episodes. Guys, that is Power Rangers up to this point had been very episodic. And while it was fun, it was a little childish, right? Like I'm enjoying it, but like this arc is so good. We get a 6th Power Ranger. We get a new villain in Scorpina. Rita actually has a good plan, not only sending out an evil Ranger and Scorpina, but she also isolates Jason, sends Zordon to another dimension, shuts down Alpha, destroys the command center, gets rid of the Megazord, and before she destroyed the Megazord, found a way to make it less powerful. So she really was rocking and rolling. For someone who most of the time is very incompetent and just bad at making plans, this was the plan this was her plan Z. I was waiting for the scene where she's talking to Finster. I've done every plan from A to Y. What about plan Z? But no, she really, this was her big thing, this big revelation. This is the first time we see the Rangers defeated. Zordon's gone. The Megazord is gone. There's an evil Ranger. There's shit going down. The youth center's destroyed. It's amazing. This is why you should watch Power Rangers right here, guys. This is absolutely wonderful. And stay tuned next time where we finish the Green with Evil saga and then start the post Tommy Oliver or during Tommy Oliver. We start the Tommy Oliver era where we get him from now all the way through Turbo or halfway through Turbo. So with that being said, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. We got a lot of podcasts coming in 2021. I wouldn't want you to miss out on any of those. Also, don't forget to comment down below. What did you think about the Green with Evil saga? Did you watch it while it was on? And if you did, let me know what that was like. Tell me what your memories are with it and what Tommy Oliver or Green Ranger means to you, because Tommy is one of my favorite Rangers of all time. And the Green Ranger in particular is one of my favorite costumes of his. So it's very awesome to see the start of this. I'm very happy to be at this point in Mighty Morphin, and cannot wait to do 4 more episodes with you. Until then, stay safe, and most importantly, stay nerdy.